So Labor Day has come and it's gone. And with it, we said goodbye to summer of 2023. And in this video, I want to do a quick wrap up of my summer reads. So I'm going to be talking about the books I read in July and August. It was 9 books that I read in those 2 months. Some of them definitely qualify as summer reads. And let's start with those. So maybe we're going to jump into Wool by Hugh Howey. This was such a great book. I read this because I wanted to watch the show Scythe, but of course I wanted to read the book first. So I read book 1. There are 3 books in this series. Book 1 was fantastic, very interesting, imaginative, great world building. And it was fun to watch the series right after reading the book as it presented its vision of what the silo, what life underground actually feels like. I recommend the series. I like the book more. I love the series where it stays faithful to the book. Episode 1 was excellent. The ending of Silo series, good too. The book was more consistent to me throughout. It was a good reading experience throughout. So I really liked it. Hugh Howey did a great job with this. I cannot wait to continue with the series. And guess what? There is a little bit of I gotta put these down. There is a little bit of a thing happening here where this summer I just realized I've started a lot of series that I'm gonna have to continue with. Well, I don't have to, but I want to continue with Wayward Pines. I read book 1, Pines, Blake Crouch. You know, dark matter, recursion. You know it's gonna be a fun read when you pick up something written by Blake Crouch. And this did not disappoint. Perfect summer read. You could read this at the beach in 2 days. Fabulous story. Interesting feel to it. He's starting to build the world in this book. It's not really fleshed out, but oh my gosh, the Twin Peaks vibes that I get in this book, incredible. I love Twin Peaks, and this book took me back to that feeling. It's good, it's interesting, it's got lots of twists. You're gonna be reading this and thinking, what the hell is going on? And then as the reveals come in, there was a point where I was thinking, okay, this is just silly. But then he pulls it off with some scientific explanations. It's not quite Crichton-esque, but it's close, it's good, it's fun, and I cannot wait to read the rest of Pines. It's also such, like I said, such an easy book to get into. Let me know, by the way, if you've read any of these, your thoughts. How was yours reading summer? Let me know your favorite summer read of 2023. Scythe by Neil Shusterman, YA books. I read this one, my daughter read it. We did a video together doing a review, so if you're interested, check it out. Maybe I'll link it down below or up here somewhere. Anyway, this was fun, this was good. Another one that builds a world that feels unlikely perhaps, but who knows? It's an interesting dystopian/utopian world in this case. Humans have conquered death. We do not need to die anymore. But guess what? We have not solved overpopulation issues in this book. And because of that, even though humans don't need to die, they have to die. They have to be, as they call it, gleaned. Very interesting concept of ethics in killing, in keeping population under control. So I liked it a lot. And again, it's a series, so there are 2 more books to be read. I'm gonna have to get to these at some point. Another one that I started, and is a series, this is pretty incredible. I didn't even realize that this summer I started so many series. This is probably a mistake. But anyway, Adrian Tchaikovsky's Shards of Earth. This is book 1 in the Final Architecture series. And it's good. Again, not great. I expected more from Adrian Tchaikovsky because I love Children of Time so much. This was good, but it wasn't great. I thought it was a little silly at times, a little predictable at other times. But in the end, he pulls it together, and I'm curious about what's gonna happen. I'm interested in finding out how this story progresses. Great found family vibes also here. If you like The Expanse with its found family trope, this one will scratch that itch for you as well. Good book in the end. Interesting take on a sci-fi epic. Speaking of science fiction epic, Deepness in the Sky, a follow-up to Fire Up on the Deep, which is one of my all-time favorite science fiction books. And this one comes close to it. Not as good as Fire Up on the Deep, perhaps, but it's got its own merits. It's good in different ways. The story is a lot more local. There's one thread that connects the 2 books, but these are really standalones, just kind of within the same universe. And even the universe that is built in Fire Up on the Deep doesn't really factor that much into this as far as the zones of thought. So yeah, this was super interesting. I mean, it's a Hugo Award winner. It's a great book. It's Vernon Vingy. Slow in the middle as we're kind of, as you know, everyone's waiting. People on the page are waiting for something to happen, and we're waiting for something to transpire as well. And when it does, it gets crazy. And this was a great fun read as well. A little bit more science heavy perhaps than some of the other books I talked about. And here are some books that are not science fiction that I read in over the summer. So there's this one that I read. Unfortunately, I didn't like Wolfsong at all. TJ Klune wrote In the Lives of Puppets, which I loved. I just found it funny and cute and interesting and easy to read. This I found annoying, repulsive at some point. The sexual stuff here I just thought did not fit with what the book felt like as you're reading it. Otherwise, it almost feels like you're going from a YA book into a porn. It was very strange. So I did not enjoy it. I am not going to continue with this series. I do not recommend it. But you know, if you want to check it out for yourself, definitely do so. But I would recommend reading In the Lives of Puppets because that is such a fun, uplifting story. Outlive. So this is a nonfiction book, of course, Peter Attia. Check him out on YouTube, podcast. He's all over the place. He's definitely having a moment now, having written this book on the science of longevity. I'm definitely interested as I'm getting older. I'm 49, so I'm definitely interested in staying healthy. And this book is kind of my new Bible. I have to read it again, annotate it, pick out the things that apply to me and my health situation. But yeah, I strongly recommend it. He also talks about, which I found fascinating, how we need to move on from what he calls medicine 2.0 to medicine 3.0, which is preventive care, which is thinking about health in a much broader, not waiting for someone to get sick before they seek help, get help, get medicine, but prior to that, put us on track to live longer, but also live longer healthy. Because people are living a lot longer these days, but what we're doing essentially is keeping people alive who are sick longer. We're not keeping people healthy. Last but not least, Tandy Sherpa. I was happy to have an opportunity to meet him. He's the co-owner of Himali brand of mountain climbing gear, and he's such an amazing human being. This story, Higher Than Everest, is good. The story's written well. Talking to him and listening to him was incredible. What a humble, what an amazing human being. Deeply spiritual, deeply connected to his country, Nepal, to the mountains where he works as a guide. He's been on Mount Everest, I believe 14 times. He's been all over the place. He is an inspiration, mostly not because of what he has achieved, because some people have achieved more in the mountains than he has, but because of the struggle from childhood to the man he is today. That story is just fabulous. I mean, Tandy, just to let you know, did not have shoes or sandals of any kind until he was, I believe, 14. His life is an inspiration. So it's good to connect with someone who has had to struggle for everything he's achieved and now is an inspiration to so many others with some of his foundations and the stuff he's doing. So awesome. And this isn't a book that I read. This is a book that I'm reading. Justin Cronin's The Ferryman. I'm on page, hang on, 94. I fucking love it. It's great. It's great so far. I mean, I'm not giving any final marks to this book, but so far it's great. From the beginning, you can tell that Justin Cronin, his prose is maybe a notch above maybe most of these books here. It's really pleasure to read a book so well written, so clear in its message and where it's going, and I feel like I'm connected with the story and with the characters, and I'm fascinated by the world that he is building here, presenting, and I'm expecting some twists. I'm expecting some unexpected moments here. So this is shaping up to be a great book for September. And yeah, I'm looking forward to letting you know how much I liked it. So again, let me know if you've read any of these books. What are your thoughts? How was your summer? What have you read? Let's talk. Leave a comment. Don't forget to like Avalanche. And guess what? I forgot about book number 9 that I read this summer, which is John Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men, a classic tale, a moving novella, beautiful story, so vivid, incredible character work. In such a short novel, Steinbeck captures a time, a moment of Americana. It's just an incredible book. I don't have a copy of it because my daughter is reading it for school, but yeah, that was book number 9 that I read. So I think it was an interesting mix overall of books this summer. As I've gone over them now, I'm even more excited about some of these series that I've started and some of the non-science fiction books that I read as well, which I always try to strive to keep a balance, because science fiction is my first love. It's something that I'm very much into right now, for sure, but I love to read most of all, and I love the variety of reading experiences. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope to talk to you again very soon.